Yes, good afternoon once again. So, this is the third class, and we are going to talk about adult learning theory today. And we had the synopsis of what it is and all that in the last class. So, now we're going to get into the theories and not just adult learning theories, but also on the ISD theories. ISD theories are huge. So, I'm also trying to start off with the ISD theories also in today's class and continue in the next class also. So there are many ISD theories. So before that, adult learning theory is something we have to, talk about. So very simple. In order to make your program very, successful, very optimal and all that, you need to have adult learning theory. Okay. There'll be some difficulties when it comes to, learning. I mean, I'm talking about the learning barriers. Okay, that can be encountered, that may be encountered by adult learners, that can prevent them from trying new things, growing their own skills, or obtain some new knowledge. Since this workplace training takes the largest share in the adult learning, we'll see what barriers actually comes up. Okay, the first thing is about focus. We all, I mean, the employees or whoever is part of organization, maybe they only work 5% of the work week that they are ready to spend on training. That is what a statistic says. Okay, not the most optimistic estimate, but it's evident that adults tend to have other priorities apart from training. We all know that. Yeah, they have too much on their plate, not only at work, but also in the personal life. So that presents the challenge to stay focused on training and reduce distractions. It can be a noisy office environment, or it can be, work pressure. It can be anything. So the first point here is focus. The second point I would like to mention is about seeing the big picture. If adults don't see where they stand in the company, they don't feel valued or know what depends on them, training will seem unnecessary for them. Employees I mean, they may simply not understand why their employer is trying to involve them in a training process, what results are expected from them, and why is it expected from them. So it is very, very important to show that training and development is an important thing for the growth, for their growth and the company's growth, and make a real impact on the overall business performance per se. And the other point here is to have a purpose. Yeah. What's in it for me? That situation. Yeah. Adult learners want to know exactly how this new knowledge will help them in their work, will help them in their personal growth. If the purpose of the training is not concrete enough, and if it does not target the learning needs of the audience, it may become a barrier, an unbreakable barrier, and no training will make sense. So that is one important thing. And the other one is imposter syndrome. You would have heard this word. Adults will tend to fear not knowing something. They perceive to be essential for their new role, their career path, or different profession per se. This fear of criticism will also add to this particular syndrome. Um, any knowledge, yeah, can be gained, uh, and the self-doubt, feeling unsatisfactory. All of these are very harder to resolve. So if the training topic is something new for the adult, they may suffer from this imposter syndrome, and that may hinder their growth and development badly. So, I mean, to distinguish the critical aspects of adult learning, education theorists, psychologists had elaborated many theoretical frameworks that are relevant, that are, reinventing learning practices beyond what they studied in the, college or whatever, to move on to the workplaces. This is what we are going to discuss today. And one more thing, as I talk about theory, see, there's no single theory that explains how and why the best, I mean, the adults learn, the best way. It is not like that. Each one theory will shed light on a particular aspect of adult learning, and you have to take it accordingly. So that's the disclaimer that I want to say. When we keep understanding about one theory, and you will feel, okay, let me, stick on to this. Immediately, the next theory will shed another light on it. Then you may get confused. You'll start comparing. So don't do all that. So each one of it will give you one aspect so that you can apply accordingly. So now I'm quickly moving on to the first theory, which is McCluskey theory of margin. There are about 7 theories in this. After this theory only, I'm going to talk about ISD, the instruction system design theories. So which is already very huge. So I'm going to give a gist of all of these things so that you can go read it accordingly. Okay. Please bear with me. I may quickly move on. Any doubts we can maybe have it in the last, so that we don't slow up the speed for this particular topic. Now, McCluskey's theory of margin. Margin, this McCluskey, he only introduced this theory. This was in the early 60s. He believed that this particular theory was relevant to understand adults' lives, especially, that various demands or pressures as we keep aging that way. According to this McCluskey, in this theory of power load, that is what is the are the two elements that he's talking about: power and load, power load margin. See, the key factors of adult life are these. I'm talking about the load the adult carries in living, okay, and the power that is available to him or her to carry that load. So that is the way we have to understand this. Margin was conceived here as a formula expressing a ratio, expressing a relationship between this load and the power. Load here is the self. The self demands, the social demands required by a person, to maintain some level of autonomy. Okay. Whereas the power is the resources, the abilities, the possessions, the position also, which a person can command in order to cope up with the load. So if you see the formula that's given by him, load is L, power is P. So, the margin is L by P. That is what, it says. So this formula is clearly depicting us that the greater the power in the relationship to the load, the more margin will be available. Very simple. So the load power ratio will change and adjust throughout the adult years as we grow, as we have changes in any of the power or the load factor. So more the power provides a margin or cushion to handle those load requirements. Margin can be increased by reducing the load or increasing the power. Yeah. So it's proportional and in proportional in that way. Okay. This, if I may talk about the load factors, what can be the external, in terms of the load factors, what can be the external load factors? It can be tasks of life, family, career, the socio-economic status. It can be anything. And when we talk about internal load factors, it is about the self-concept, the goals, the expectations we have personally. So these are the load factors that you can remember. Okay. Whereas power factors, when we talk about power factors, I will categorize this into 5 factors. The power factors: physical power, the strength, the stamina, the energy, the health that you possess. The next would be social. Social is socializing, ability to relating with others. And the third is about the mental power. ability to think, reasoning, yeah, all of that. And the fourth power is the economic, basically the money, the position, the influence, and the final one is the skill, what the individual knows in terms of how to go about it, how to do it. So this is what McCluskey says about the adult learning, adult learning way of handling these kind of situations in life. So any person's performance will be a function of various of these mentioned, whatever I mentioned, load dimensions, load values, and also the capacity to carry that load. So this is what it is. Okay, so now let me move on to the next theory, which is the self-directed learning, SDL. Okay. SDL again is rooted from this Malcolm Knowles theory of adult learning. Let me talk about it. Okay, very simple. Garrison is the one who actually implemented this. He talks about self-management here, and we all would have heard this word self-management. We all would have what do you say? We all would have undergone this situation in terms of self-driven teams, self-driven performances, all of this. This is what it is. SDL is a process, yeah, where individuals take the initiative to diagnose the learning needs, diagnose the self-learning needs from learning goals, identifying the resources, implementing a learning plan, and assessing their own results also. So SDL occurs with the help of teachers, mentors, resources, and peers, but it is driven from self. And it also requires the learner to be able to access the learning or select the appropriate training also. So the learner will exercise control over all the learning decisions he or she is taking. And this falls in some concept of how adults self-manage. Yeah. And this creates a theory with the premise that the adult learner will take the initiative to understand what he or she needs to learn. And the learner, as I said, will follow a learning plan. He also will seek out to people, will respond positively in being a control of his own learning journey. And, this is more suitable for people who are self-motivated learners. Yeah. Uh, who also will respond well in terms of technology-based learning. For them, this theory will work a lot. So this is what SDL is. Okay, so now I'm quickly moving on to the next theory, adult learning. This is by KP Cross. He presented this theory. I mean, the characteristics of adults as learners. This is called as CAL. Characteristics of adults as learners. This model is in the context of the analysis of what do you call the lifelong learning program. Yeah, this model attempts to integrate some theoretical frameworks. Your adult learning, andragogy, some experiential learning, lifespan psychology. So all put together is what is this lifelong learning all about. So here in this model, this is, if you can see, it consists of two classes of variables: personal characteristics and situational characteristics, I would say. Personal characteristics like aging, life phases of life, stages of life. While in the stages of life, we'll have some developmental stages also. So these dimensions will have different characteristics as far as lifelong learning is concerned. Correct? When you age, you will result in deterioration of your basic sensory motor abilities, your eyesight, hearing, the reaction time, your intelligence abilities also, decision making skills, reasoning, vocabulary. We tend to improve, but life phases developmental stages are all about your career, your marriage, your job changes, your retirement, whatever. All of these involves a series of, what you call plateaus, transitions, which may or may not be directly related to age. So these are called the personal characteristics. The next is about situational characteristics. Situational characteristics actually will consist of part-time learning versus full-time learning. We can understand in this way. Part-time learning and full-time learning. Or voluntary learning versus compulsory learning. If a person is able to fix accordingly, part-time versus full-time, whereas voluntary versus compulsion, then this self-learning, this characteristics of adult learning will help people to apply this accordingly. Okay. So the administration of the learning in terms of the scheduling, where it is happening, how am I going to learn, all of this will be strongly affected, right, by the first thing, part-time versus full-time. Whereas in the voluntary versus compulsion, it is about self-direction, problem-centered nature of any adult. So between this, the person will juggle here and there. Okay. So the CAL model is intended to provide some guidelines for adult education programs. So that is what this CAL is all about. So if you are able to understand, one thumbs up will help me, and I can also understand, because I'm quickly moving on to the other theories. One thumbs up from you if you're able to relate and understand what I say.
Madam Sandeep here.
Yeah, Sandeep.
So we are learning type of method. So currently we are learning part-time learning on Sunday classes.
Mm. Okay, yes, okay. I'm talking about adult learning theories here. I'm giving you different perspectives on how adults keep learning. Okay, and this particular Cal is talking about these elements. So my question is, are you able to understand? And I understood that you're able to relate this with the ISTD class. Okay, yes. No thumbs ups, no reactions.
Agree, ma'am.
Are you all able to understand this? Get this? I
So
used
little
to
bit
have,
light on, please, ma'am. Compulsory learning. Can you elaborate, please?
which one?
Compulsory learning. So what about the
Compulsory
compulsory?
learning is all about, what do you say? We will have some problem center. Because of this, we need to have a training, and we have to cope up with that. There is no choice. You'll have to compulsorily go through that.
Okay.
Okay, I used to have,
Any example for compulsory learning?
sorry?
Example for compulsory learning, if you could share.
Okay, all right. So for this, I will try giving you some example. Okay.
Military learning, military training.
So consider three adults here. Okay. Uh, mm, Three different adults. One, a nursing student, for example. Okay, a nursing student. Number two, a new parent. And number three can be a middle-aged social worker. Okay, who are about to take a course on child development. Okay. So now if you can understand, each of these individuals differ in age, maybe 20, 30, 40, like that. Yeah. And the developmental phases are also diverse. Adolescent, someone who is young, and someone who is like, young and striving, and the third one being a little matured and stable and all that. So they also differ in terms of situational characteristics. For the nursing student, this course may seem full-time, compulsory. But for the parent, it can be a part-time learning. It can be an optional one. Okay. But maybe for the social worker, it can be a part-time. But if he or she is involved in child work, child social work and all that, it becomes a compulsory one. So, according to this model, a different learning strategy is necessary for these whatever I mentioned, these three individuals, to accommodate the differences in personal characteristics and situation characteristics. So this is one example I can say where you can understand this CAL process. Yeah. So shall I move on to the next theory?
Dr. Raghavi, can you give examples for the previous two models as well? Because understood theoretically, but when we get through an example,
Yes,
it's
that
better
is
to
why
really.
I parked here to give example to this theory, because this may sound a little tricky, but the other one are kind of self-explanatory. Maybe I will park this and go till the when we'll end of the class, we can have some discussions. Is that okay?
Okay. Sure, sounds good.
Yeah, all right. So the next theory is about the andragogy. Actually speaking, these images and all that I have put in for you so that you'll understand it better. Okay, maybe it might sound a little vague when you see the, literally the textbook, the material, whatever you have. So here I have mentioned extra diagrams, extra, things so that, it is self-explanatory. When you read the textbook and then go through the PPT, you will definitely be able to understand, Nikhil. Okay, now andragogy. Andragogy, we all know this is the art and science of teaching the adults. And that is what we are talking about. So pedagogy is not that. Pedagogy is about the science and art of teaching the children. So when it comes to adult learners, adult theory and all that, this is suited to direct their own learning than a child learning. This particular kind of theory, say, understand this as how this adult learning is working out and what principles here. Okay. First point, as I said, whom you are involving are adult learners. Adult need to be involved in this planning and evaluation of the instruction. That's what, very simple. And you're using their own knowledge base and life experience to add in their learning. Okay, that's the second point. And thirdly, we'll be engaging, presenting, and ready to learn when the material is very relevant. And the person wants to be able to apply new information, to solve the problems in the life. The andragogy is best suited for those who are, again, strongly self-motivated, like I said in the previous slides, or who is a goal-oriented person, or who follows a structured program in terms of how to solve specific problems. So learners without self-motivation, or those who value more of this classroom experience than this alternative learning, e-learning, whatever we are talking about, will not find this of a much value. So andragogy is about the instructor will create a space that is going to welcome the collaboration, have some materials wherein adult learners' experience are also involved here. Okay. Adults learners, relevance and impact to the lives of the learners are also considered here. And the instructor will demonstrate why this lesson is important to learn, using some real world examples, how this concept will be, valuable to the learner. Is it going to solve any problems? Or any organization can actually use this andragogy of this training program by, setting out some common problems that the learner will encounter in their new role. So this is what Malcolm Knowles has actually, suggested in this theory. So if you can see, if I'll have to quickly give you an understanding of this with example. Okay, the first point here is adult learn better from what do you call, from their experiences or the past knowledge, whatever. when you plan a course for adults, try to appeal to their profession. This is a practical example I'm giving. Please try to connect your training with their professional background. Yeah. Provide some related examples. Then they will be able to learn new knowledge. They can connect that with their experiences. Second point, adults will always favor a pragmatic approach. Must be able to apply this life learning to solve a specific problem. So what example I can tell you here is practically articulate the why behind this training program and make it speak for itself. As I said, what is in it for me? That makes the way for your title itself. If your training is going to answer this question. And the third point is adults are mostly interested in learning things that have relevance, as I mentioned in the third point, relevance. So here, blend this theory with practice, create some exercises, role plays to apply new knowledge immediately. Yeah, that is very important. And the fourth point is about planning, evaluation of their instructions. So involve your learners in the planning, execution, assessment of the new training program, collect some feedback, update the training material, frequently and accordingly. So this will help in this theory to properly implement it. So these are all the examples of andragogy. Then quickly I'm moving on to this proficiency theory. Proficiency theory of adult learning. As I mentioned in the beginning, maybe you may be confused about each of these theories. Each of these theories is shedding light on one or two important aspects or few aspects. So that aspect, if you can, keep it in your mind and, read it, you will be able to understand the difference between these theories. And I'm clearly telling you, these are to give perspectives on adult learning. That's it. So now proficiency theory, this theory, is by this person called Knox. Yes. So Knox, he developed this theory. What he has done is he has identified some major areas of proficiency. Okay. For helping adults learn, understand the field of education, understand adults as learners, have a positive attitude towards lifelong learning, obtain some interpersonal relationship skills. So there are specific areas of proficiency for people who are involved in this adult learning. See, when I talk about this adult learning, so he has three important things: developmental, transactional, interactive, interactive components and all that. So let me quickly talk about this. Okay. This proficiency theory contains many interactive components, like the environment, the past and current characteristics of an individual, the performance of an individual, the aspiration. I'm talking about the learners here, okay? The aspiration of the individual, the discrepancies he or she faces in life, specific, activity oriented in terms of learning. This is what he is wanting to consider in these interactive concepts. Also, Knox, this theorist, he also talks about the need for learners to understand how barriers exist between current proficiency and the desired proficiency. So we will have to have some assessments, evaluation activities in examining this proficiency. We all know what is proficiency, the capacity of a person, okay? The capacity, the proficiency, the expertise. So it can be knowledge, it can be attitude, it can be skill. So how this proficiency can be used in terms of developmental approach, transactional approach, and what are all the elements in life where you can connect with this and increase the proficiency of any person. So, this proficiency oriented learning will, will make the adult achieve at any highest possible level. That's what this theory says. Because proficiency ideas are more of competency based approaches. Whenever you're involving competency, proficiency, whatever, there are more chances to emphasize on achievement with minimal standards, because the performance of any person is there automatically. So that's what this theory says. So if you can quickly understand this, proficiency of an adult matters. So this proficiency, can be utilized properly in any adult learning in terms of his or her own developmental, I'm talking about the learner's developmental attitude, transactional attitude, and the individual competence he or she has. So based on this, adult learning theory will happen. That is what this theory says. Don't get confused. Understand the crux alone so that you can get get the theory. Okay, now quickly I'm talking about experiential learning theory. So this is by a theorist Jarvis.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes, Neha. Yes, please.
Yes, about transactional learning. Will you please elaborate that?
Okay. Transactional, as I mentioned in the PPT, individuals interact with environment and individuals in the learning environment. Every single day, we are dealing with people, dealing with situations. We are transacting something. So it is not just the self-development that is happening. It is also about the social thing, social proficiency of any person. That is what this transactional thing says.
So is it on the same lines as the book I Am Okay, You Are Okay?
Is it also in the same line with?
The book I Am Okay, You Are Okay?
I am okay, you're okay kind of a thing. It's not about
Yes,
being
is it
okay here. It is about, how individuals perform, with their own proficiency as well as others' proficiency. In case if somebody else is not okay, so how would you learn? So when it comes to, proficiency, it is all about what we learn, what you learn, and what I learn. That's what it is.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Now I'm quickly moving on to this experiential learning theory. So Jarvis, what he says is all learning begins with experience. This is his perspective. Okay. But specifically, he identifies certain disjunctures in the starting point of the learning process. We all have this disjuncture. Okay. When our prior knowledge is insufficient to address a problem, that we experience in life, it will create a discomfort. It will create a a disequilibrium in our lives. That is what he mentions here. Disjunctures are unique experiences because it's puzzling. We don't know what's happening. It's disquieting enough for us not to reject, but to reflect on it. This applies with everything in our life. Anything happens, are you going to ignore it or are you going to reflect on it? Are you going to fly away from it or are you going to face it? So this is the state of being puzzled and unsettled occasion by this disjuncture. Okay, that will breed critical reflection, which will trigger this learning process. This is very psychological and all that. Experiential learning is a beautiful theory, actually. Okay. So this when life transitions, we don't know what you cannot anticipate anything in life, right? So these are unique experiences that can be seen as disjunctures that actually, will, take out take us out, our, what do you call that? Taking for granted views, right? And will prompt us to seek new information. That is what he says. And this is a very, beautiful theory. As I said, this will reveal learning from experience or learning from transition, as I said. So this is a process that will engage the whole human being, the emotional part, the cognitive part, the social aspects of any individual. All of these are considered in addressing the transitions encountered in a person's life. So this meaning, of transitions is about socially constructive. That is what he says. When you make this socially constructive, yeah, when you are a product of emotion, when you are a product of thought, when you are a product of action, and when complex circumstances arises in life as a result of these transitions, then when you are socially constructive, okay, there are many aspects of human life. Okay, so here, if you can understand, this image is not there, so I wantedly had researched this a diagram and put it for you so that you can understand this theory when you have a diagrammatic representation to it. Okay, so the
Raghavi.
whole real world, the life world of a person is taken with experience. He will have emotions, thoughts, and actions. All of this put together, the person becomes more experienced and will be triggered to learning. That is what he says. Yes, Karishma, quickly.
Ma'am, whose theory is this, please?
Sorry,
Whose theory is this? You named a person, no, ma'am. I missed you on that.
Jarvis. Sorry, Jarvis. 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 Okay. So this is what, yes, Mr. Jugal.
Uh, Dr. Ravi, just wanted to understand one. I don't know, maybe I think whether it is a misinterpretation or something, because whenever in my industry type, I belong to service industry and being a part of the team, L&D only, most of the time people generally refer this experiential learning uh, to the simulation or to the kinesthetic approaches only. So if in case you do not have a simulator available, or maybe when you are not able to provide the real life experience to an individual as a new entrant, then they generally say that, okay, there is a lack of experiential learning. But while going through this particular model, I am seeing a lot of emotions, reactions, responses, and all these things are involved over here. It is not just only that simulation part, or maybe just giving a real life example, or maybe a case study kind of a thing. So am I misinterpreting it, or like the previous version of the experiential learning which I received from the different people in the industry, it is somewhere needs to be corrected?
No, nothing about correction. Let me be very clear, Jugal. Actually, this experiential learning, this experiential theories are, diverse in terms of who is actually bringing it out. Okay.
Okay.
When I talk about learning theories, I always put this disclaimer, as I said in the beginning. These are all perspectives.
True.
Okay. When Pavlov, we saw this, the theories and all that. So when Pavlov, brought about a theory, there are a lot of things. Can you please unmute?
Ma'am, background noise is coming.
Can you please unmute? Or can you please mute?
Host, can you please mute others?
Mr. Ravi, can you please help me out in muting the
Ma'am, you
participants?
itself can mute everyone.
Adiba, would you be able to
The
mute
co-host
yourself?
can mute.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect, ma'am.
Yes. So, Mr. Jugal, yes, we're talking. When Pavlov, mentioned his viewpoints and all that, there were always criticists who criticized about his learning, right? About his presentation and all that. There will always be a different perspective to what theorists talk about. With this disclaimer, what we know as trainers, the experiential learning is definitely different from what it is. I do get that point and I understand that. But if we can connect it, if we can see this as just a matter of a theory with a perspective that is given, then this can be understood in that way. This is my slightest suggestion for you.
Sure. So I think there is no need of, like, the way you just called out, that there is no need to make any corrections or any amendments over here. But I think looking at this perspective, we can improve that, or the
Absolutely.
understanding can be improved. Is it?
Absolutely.
Sure. Thanks.
Okay. So now let us move on to the next theory. That is why this is called as a theory, Jugal. All right, next we're talking about transformational learning. Okay, this is by Jack Mezziro. I'm happy that people are noting down the theorist's name. I am also having the names, especially even if it is not given in the book, because I wanted to mention these names to you. Okay, this Jack Mezziro. He developed this transformative learning. Okay, what is this theory talking about? All learners use different assumptions, different expectations, different belief systems to make sense of the world around them. This is what this man says. Okay. Transformative learning. We all would have used this terminology. We use in training, coaching, because it fastens the pace at which the employees grasp the required information. Okay, what is this transformative learning, if you ask me? Okay, this is the expansion of consciousness through which an individual can question himself or herself about their own feelings, their own beliefs, their own assumptions, and their own perspectives on their purpose. Individuals who are undergoing a transformative process are believed to as we spoke in the last class, they're completely rewiring themselves and transforms their, please remember these key points, beliefs, assumptions, and experiences into some brand new perspectives. So transformative learning, this is an action that individuals conduct in order to be self-motivated, self-governing, being empathetic, being collaborative, being rational. So individuals develop the ability to reflect on others. Yeah. This will vary from case to case. This is certainly, again, before Jugal asked me this question, let me tell him. So this will vary from case to case. This is certainly not limited to a particular scenario. Okay. It can be anything from an adult who transforms his or her ability to spread their opinion after learning how to use the social networks and the internet, to a person who has a transformative experience on the way they view life due to a traumatic experience. So this is how you can see this. So why is this important, transformative learning? Because it is going to be a good problem solving, application oriented way. It may change the habitual perspectives of a person. It may help in a person struggling with development and transition problems and all that. If you have any difficulty in terms of job adaptation or a workplace adaptation and all that, so these any social education projects also maybe, which is effective, which is critical, and which is something creative, in terms of post-migration adaptation, All of these are also, very important for us when it comes to transformative theory. Okay. Transformative theory is going to change the viewpoint. You can understand in that way. It is going to help you in changing the viewpoints, changing the expectations, changing the assumptions after a transformative experience. That is what Jack Mezirow did for us. So, if I can quickly mention some more points on this, this man also, mentioned certain points on critical reflection. Yeah, the rational disclosure, the experience, the centrality of experience. So these are some points he mentioned as part of this transformative theory in terms of, when you have adults who are into different kinds of learning. Okay, some will be instrumental, some will be, communicative. So all of these, audience, were different adult learners in your training program. So how do you handle this? Through transformative theory, transformative learning. So you'll have some, dilemma, a person, you may have to deal with person's dilemmas, different dilemmas, persons with self-examination oriented people. So some assumptions on assessments and all that. You may deal with different kind of people. Maybe there'll be people, adults who are exploring some new ideas, new roles, new actions in their life. So you're going to deal with more people, right? So how can this transformative theory help you is what this transformative learning says. Okay, so this is about transformative learning. So now, with all the briefs of all this, I am going to now move on to the next topic, which is about, what is this? Learning experience, LXD. You all would have heard about this word, LXD, is or not? Yeah, anybody? LXD, no?
Ma'am, I have a question to you before moving to learning experience design.
I
So you,
expected.
so you have taken, I think around 5 theories you have taken.
7.
7 theories, okay. So in that 7 theories, which is the very important theory to take it forward in our practical experience, practical life, and second, which is important for our examination purpose.
Priya, that's why I have actually clearly mentioned all the disclaimers from the beginning till the end. Jugal, please don't raise because, see, I will say all 7 are important in that case.
It is
And for
important
exam, I don't know.
No, for practical thing, this is important. If you tell something that we will take for the exam also, not an issue.
And
See,
it will be help for us, ma'am.
So much of theories, ma'am, it is very difficult to understand and keep everything in our mind.
I definitely understand your points. Guys, please always, I mean, don't lose that, hope. When you see some vague or, all theory oriented things, that is why I've taken pains, I've taken efforts. If you see the if you compare the PPT with the material, you'll be able to understand the work I did for you for this PPT. Because, see, when it comes to these theories, wait, let me show you. So you cannot find all of these colorful images in that. Okay, apart from this baby power, you cannot see. I really wanted to give you a diagrammatic representation here so that you first understand the crux of it, also along with the talk that I give you in the contact classes. Then when you read, you will be able to understand this. So my sincere suggestion, Priya, to your second question, okay, for the exams, I request all of you to go through the PPT, and then read the textbooks, whatever is given to you. You will be able to definitely relate. Then if you have any doubts, you can ask me. So this is for the second point. And the first question that you've raised. So there's no, again, when, I had this slide last time itself. One size does not fit all. Okay. So you have to, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with mindsets, you're dealing with different capabilities of a person. So all that we can see is, bring all of these into our minds, process it and see how we, again, you're not going to, if I talk about this theory, say, which, let me talk about this itself, this experiential itself. When you ask this, if we are going to apply completely, the same theory into our learning program, that won't work. You'll fail as a trainer, as an instructional designer. Okay. So what we have to do is process it and see which best suits for your, training program, and reorder it, reapply it as per your audience and your content and your experience. Then it will work. So that is how a theory should be viewed. Yes, Jugal.
So I just wanted to understand, are we going to also cover up the Gegnes adult learning principles, those 9 or 10 odd principles that generally we adopt in designing the content, or maybe I think in delivering certain aspects?
Which one are you talking about?
Gegnes principle.
Yeah. I mean, the ISD, there's so, as I said, there are so many ISD theories that I'm going to talk about. That is why I'm rushing on this, actually. There are so many theories. If you open the book, you may see. And now for the 7 theories itself, you're so confused. I'm worried about the other ISD models which are all there. Again, let me talk about this. We're going to talk about all of this also, Jagan. Yeah. Okay. So please be, please be a little open. Take the learning part alone and then process it. Okay. I have Anika also raised her hand. Yes, Anika.
Just one quick question. The theory of margin that you discussed, the first one, it clearly said that it is margin is equal to load divided by power, right? But if you go by that logic, if power increases, the margin decreases, right? Why is it
I
changed in
expected this
denominator?
question. As per the formula, I was expecting this question then there itself. Okay. So this is not a number here. This is all about human qualities. We are not talking about monetary things here. We're talking about non-monetary things. And for this, as in when, the power increases, the capability of you handling the load will decrease. That's what he says here.
Okay, even if I take it as a qualitative aspect, say power, now when they say more power would lead to more margin, does that mean power in terms of number of factors? Like, say, you mentioned the physical factors, economic factors. So, say for a person, if he has physical strength, mental strength, everything, but low level
Yes.
of skill, would that still lead to a higher margin?
I think the 5th one, what I mentioned, is skill only.
Yeah, so that's what. So in a person, it is not necessary that all the power factors will be on a higher side. It could be such that, say, somebody is physically strong, mentally strong, but doesn't have a higher level of skill. How would power be accounted for in that
In
that
that
kind of a theory?
case, automatically the capability of him to deal with the load will automatically decrease. When he doesn't have the power, the skill power to deal with things, his load will increase.
Sure.
So when his load will increase, automatically there will be, more problems to witness this situation.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Jugal.
I think we can understand this particular concept with the help of performance management also. So, for example, let's say if we understand that, okay, there will be a load for the giving an output, but until and unless I am not making that individual enable. So here the power is actually referring to the empowerment or to the enablement of those individuals in terms of their knowledge, skills, competencies, and everything. So when you are actually increasing the enablement, the person will be feeling much like more comfortable or at ease to deliver the output. He will not feel the load or the pressure.
True. Beautiful example. Okay. Now, as per your syllabus, you have this learning experience design. So I'm not going to spend much time on this because I'm going to give you a gist of this only. Okay. What could be this? What is LXD? You can put it on the chat box also. Learning experience or learning experience design. When you hear this word, what comes to your mind? Quickly.
Isn't that another name for instructional design? Like that's what I read in the intro of the book. It was written there.
Okay.
Ma'am, it could be that learning experience, designing the course material in terms of the learning that will be the outcome.
Okay.
Dr. Raghavi, I think it could be somewhat related to the participants' experience in the entire learning journey, like how they are feeling. Are they connecting the dots with the content that is being shared? Is the content making any sense or is it relevant to them? So, like, very much related to the participant-centric designing of the learning modules.
Okay, done. Got it. Nice.
It is a test. This is a test of past previous experience and learn about past evidences.
Okay. User's experience. Okay, very good.
So, ma'am, it is for the improvement of the experience of the participants and our users which are there in our class or the.
All right.
Maybe considered as the performance or experience of the person through learning. Might be in the learning process, the improvement or the performance or experience of the person.
No.
Ma'am, according to me, what I am thinking is whatever we are going to design, it should be according to the participants, where they can get a the relevance experience, and hence it can be the outcome. It can be calculated as an outcome.
Okay. Yes, Anumitra. Yes, please. Raise your voice. So LXD, learning experience design. This is actually what you see is learning experience design. Three important things here. Okay. So from interaction design to user experience design, you're going to talk about, LX, the learning experience that you're providing to your adult audience. This is going to bridge the gap between creative design and the field of learning, creativity and learning. It's going to give the audience a refreshing view on how to shape the way the adult is going to learn by applying some perspectives, skills, tools, methods of what as an instructional designer you are going to give. Okay. So as I said, it can be an interaction design, it can be a user experience design, okay, a graphical design, a game design. It's up to you. Okay. So these design principles are actually combined with your training and development, your instructional design, basically, with some touch on psychology, adult oriented experiential learning, neuroscience. All of these things are about LXD. Okay, now when we talk about this, what also comes to us is HPT. Okay, human performance technology. Again, what is this human performance technology? Again, I'm not spending much time on this. So quickly, I'll move on by saying the gist of what it is. Okay, this human performance technology is actually again a systematic approach to improve the productivity of a person, a competence of a person, or a group of audience, not just a person, a group of audience, using some set of methods, set of procedures, strategy for problem solving. It is about what you select. The if I can mention this way, the process of selection, analysis, what else? Design, development, implementation, going back to evaluation of your program, yeah, in a cost-effective way that will influence directly the human behavior, humans' accomplishment. That is what we're talking about, right? As an instructional designer. So this is going to combine three things, as you see in the diagram. Again, this diagram is not there. I have just mentioned it for you. Three fundamental processes are combined here. One is about the performance analysis of of this entire process. Number 2, cause analysis. And number 3, the intervention selection that you're doing. Okay. All of these are applied to individuals or groups or larger organizations per se. And this, as I said, you are trying to influence, impact a human's behavior through technology. So this is what it means. So I am parking it here. This is very simple topic. So you can go relate to your textbook material and understand what it is. Also followed by this particular topic, you will have some acronyms in the textbook.
Yes, ma'am.
Those acronyms are, again, it's just a matter of a read, a go through. So you can also go through that. It may help you, to go through the topics and all that. And if you ask me, will we get 2 marks or 3 marks, that as a question? No, I'm not going to tell you that. I don't know. Okay. So I am going to move on to this vast topic, which is about instructional system models. Okay, now I will ask you this question. If I tell this instructional system models as a topic, what comes to your mind? Having just gone through about this, adult learning theories and all that, what is this instructional system model going to help us? Any idea?
Might be this will be helping us to plan a module.
Plan a module. Okay. What else?
Maybe the curricula, how the curricula will be designed.
Okay.
I guess they must be based on the adult learning theories we read, and they would like explain to us how to design, deliver, and implement the how to create the learning materials and all.
Okay, all right. So, any instructional program should be able to, it should be teachable as a subject matter. The trainer or the instructor, whoever it is, can teach this efficiently, given that participants require several hours of learning. Okay. So this should encourage its learners to cover the learning activities. Okay. To apply that subject matter in practical situations. That's how it has to be. Correct? We are all doing this already. So when we do this entire process, you look into the trainer's background, trainer's learning capabilities. That's what we saw in all of these topics. Add in some supplementary resources, extra materials to allow the students to absorb the lessons faster. We all strive for it. And we ensure that we use a clear, straightforward, organized format. When you give the structure to the knowledge, the buildup of knowledge, so that whenever this participant go refer back to the previous lessons, they are in alignment with us. And we also break down the lessons into smaller chunks instead of giving them a big significant amount of information in one go, right? So we're all taking a lot of efforts onto this. And this should also put in information into context. We have to align that, enable the learners to understand the subject more deeply by linking the new information, the theories, to their existing knowledge. Yes, Dr. Mayuri.
Ma'am, can we consider the recordings which we are doing right now as instructional design?
Sorry?
The recordings, what we are once we are actually done with the session, we have a recording.
I think NSQ is sending you.
Yeah, that can we consider that as an instructional design or the module?
Oh, all right. So can you consider the recording as an instructional design? You are revisiting it. It is not just that. It is not just that, but it is also part of your IST.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So this is going to provide opportunities for learners to create some original output, if you may understand that. And this is also going to create some evaluation tools implemented at the learner's place, learner's pace and pace, however he or she wants to, learn, make sure the learning is happening in the way it is intended to. That's it. So there are many, many instruction system design models available for us as instructional designers. And it is important for us to have knowledge on each of them and understand each of the frameworks, advantages, disadvantages, see to it which model is appropriate for you, apply it. That's it. Again, with a big disclaimer, I am starting all of these models to you. There's no, good and bad. There's no right and wrong. It is all about how you perceive it. That's it. Okay. In that line, the first model is ADDIE model. It's a very common model for you all will know this ADDIE model. ADDIE is analysis, design, development, implementation and evaluation. We all know this. Okay, what is this ADDIE model all about? So there is a step-by-step thing explained here. The first step is analysis phase. Okay. So analysis phase, before you start developing your course, the ADDIE model states that you should first analyze the current situation. Get a clear picture of where everything is. To understand the gaps you're trying to fill up. Okay. So the analysis phase is the foundation for all the other phases of your instructional design. You will analyze all the factors that that are needed to develop your course basically. So it can be the problem, it can be the training needs, it can be the target audience, it can be what else? Learning goals. Yeah. So there is no prescribed list of what has to be included in the analysis phase. Yeah, but varies according to different organizational requirements. So problem identification, the gap analysis. What is the current knowledge? Yeah, of your target audience. Who is your target audience? What are the barriers, the dependencies? And how can you do the resource mapping based on all the information gathered in the analysis phase? How can you map the resources required for the training? It can be number of hours, number of training hours, the duration, the budget, the facilities. Yeah. And with this analysis phase, you should have a plan for your course and know your training needs. Very simple. And the next is about the design phase. So design phase, we view all the information from the analysis phase and make some decisions, informed decisions about creating the learning program. This phase is maybe sometimes it is time intensive. It requires attention to detail because designing is important. This will help to decide the specific learning objectives. In the previous phase, I said learning objectives, but here it is about specific learning objectives, right? And the structure of the content, the mental processes needed by the participants, the knowledge of the participants, the skills of the participants that will make them retain their need. Okay. What tools are we using? The videos, the graphics that are going to be created, the length of time of each of your module. These can be the examples. So this will involve the outputs you get from the analysis phase to plan a strategy to develop the instructional design course. How to reach the instructional goals that you have determined using, from this analysis phase and expand that as an instructional foundation. So learning intervention outline is formed here. Learning intervention outline since like a high level outline that you can work to structure the entire the entire program in specific to your learning objectives. You can develop some scripts, you can develop some storyboards. Yeah, storyboard, you all know the blueprint. that that will outline your text, visuals, interactions, how you navigate, all the elements of your course and all that. Okay. And so what is a script? Script is again an outline of the text a learner will see on the slides. That is what we call as scripts. So scripts and storyboards will go hand in hand always. So again, using this will help people to connect. Yeah, it'll act as a bridge between you and the learners. Yeah. Also, it is important to think through in the design phase about the user interface. What user interface are you using? User interface, the environment. Where after you analyze the training needs, you're trying to select the best training method, right? Whether it is a web-based training or a corporate LMS, your learning management system, or an instructor-led training, or training videos, or blended learning approach. What is that you want? Okay. And we are also in this process trying to understand the assets and media, selection of the medias and the resources, audio, video, graphics, quizzes, activities, whatever. Okay. Also the time frame, assigning the time frame for each task, how your learning will be implemented per chapter, per module, however you want. And aligning the same with the stakeholders of your program, very, very important. You know, your stakeholders will always will have to be aligned before you start to invest in the content creation, I would say. Okay. So the learning goals, training delivery methods, the choices, all of this should be aligned. And the evaluation, identifying the feedback mechanism that you want to determine. If the participants are able to get the lessons, they are in line with you through online survey or direct feedback or whatever model you want. Okay. So end of this design phase, you should have your course outline, your overall design, your storyboard completed. The next is about the development phase. So now you've got your analysis, you've got your design. Now it's time for you to develop it, start building it. So this is where you actually begin creating the course or developing the course. So from the previous phase, the content ideas that you've decided, okay, you're trying to bring those to, you're giving life to those ideas basically. You're laying out the content here visually, creating graphics here visually, recording some videos, selection of your fonts, yeah, your colors, the alignment, completely anything that has to do with creating the actual end product for your learners is what is your development is. So when we talk about development, we also should talk about testing. You don't want to build an entire course, upload it, and send it to thousands of employees, and then if one of the slides is not working, it is not moving forward, or the quiz results are not being recorded, no marks are getting flashed, the entire thing will fail. So the development phase is important for you to as a matter of analysis and design. Then this phase is going to bring all whatever you did in the design phase a life to it. So every element of this course is developed to match the design phase. Okay. So what you do here, you determine the delivery method, in person, online, or blended. Then you're trying to involve your technology here. Instructional designers make sure that the learning product aligns with the specification of the design, the findings, the gap analysis that you have done. Okay. Bring the right designing materials. A quality evaluation of the learning product. I'm talking about quality evaluation. Okay. Quality assurance is important. We have to pay attention to it. That's what is the key here. Also, iteration is the key. Yeah. After your quality evaluation, you have to rebuild the content, until it passes all the quality checks for you. Deployment of the required right technology. Online video conferencing, if you want to use, whether Teams will be good, whether Zoom will be good, whether WebEx will be good, or a local LMS will do to host the learning content, whatever. We have to make sure we have an established training, testing, and reviewing the entire training process with all your stakeholders. Okay, you have to have eye on the errors at this particular phase, so that you sneak through all the cracks if it is there. So that's what is it. And the next is the implementation phase. Your course is now created, tested, approved. So what are you going to do? It's time for you for your learners to take the course. Very simple. And this implementation phase is about presenting, delivering the course material to your learners, basically. So this will promote the learner's understanding of the material. This is what adult learning, all of this will happen here now. Yeah, support the learner's mastery of objectives, ensure that the transferring of knowledge has happened from the instructional setting to the job of the employee. So course delivery will happen here. The communication plan, yeah, that helps to build excitement around the training intervention. Understand the learner's challenges and see what can be done. Paying attention to learners' feedbacks, very, very important. So once this course is distributed and the users have started, they are taking up the course through this implementation, you have to be very, very attentive. And the next is evaluation phase. Evaluation phase, you have designed, you've developed, you have implemented. You want to make sure if your training program is doing its job. Is the course effective? Are your learners confused? So this is about gathering important information to see if the course is requiring to be revised and improved. I'm talking about the course here, please understand. You can gather this information by viewing some back-end data also. Asking the users, your trainees to complete some surveys. Okay. So this will measure the effectiveness of the training course, efficiency of the training course. This will happen throughout your instructional design phase, actually speaking. Okay. Within the phases, between the phases, after the implementation, you evaluate whether the goals are identified in the analysis phase. Based on the answer, make some adjustments, begin with the, ADDIE process again, so that you keep revising it. Yes, please. Yes, Mr. Sudhakar.
So, ma'am, I have one doubt. So while, following this AD model, should we keep in mind that 7 theory while, developing the content, or should we go ahead whatever that analysis we have done for the, other training, how it would be?
Okay,
How
I
is the
think
correlation or there is no relation? Yeah.
people got much impacted because of those 7 theories. I understand that. Good question, Sudhakar. Actually speaking, yeah. See, adult learning theories, again, whatever number of theories, I mentioned this in the implementation phase. Okay, but having said that, when you design also, there's one statement that I keep telling, you have to remember the audience before you design. You have to remember the audience when you do the analysis. So it applies in all the phases, no doubt about it, but not much of because when you again start developing, understanding the emotions, the human touch from the experiential phase, experiential theory, the load, the margin from the McCluskey theory, then you will go mad in designing the process. So it is important for you to understand the adults, the participants per se, and then process this ADDIE model. That way I can tell you.
Okay, understood. So as and when required, we can refer the adult learning theory,
Yes.
and then we can go ahead.
Yes. Okay. So
Thank
Ma'am,
you.
I have a question as well.
yes.
Yeah, so currently I am conducting a training in my organization when I am making them aware of how to do the screening for HR. Now, I am doing this. I do not know whether I'm doing it right or wrong. So, if you can guide me in that respect as well. I am doing it completely on the basis of experience that the existing callers have on the screening, as well as the I am making them listen to the calls that the others are making, the ones who are good at it, who are the pros, and how the newcomers or the new joiners can replicate that while they're doing it. At the same time, telling them how it needs to be done verbally and making them do mock calls. However, I'm not using any PPTs per se. So, is this a good way of conducting it, or having a PPT is something that is advisable all the time?
If you ask me for the training program that you said, PPTs are, see, whatever tools that you're giving is only going to lift your training program basically. So you're bringing in some PPTs, having these mocks happening, showcasing some videos on already high performed caller. All
Correct.
of these can be used as per your training program.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. So quickly, we're already on 1:30 now. So I'll finish off this ADDIE model and we'll give a closure. So in the evaluation phase, you'll try to collect the feedback. Yeah. So understand the learning. The instructional designers will use the evaluation phase to learn and evaluate which processes went well. So that is important. Which needs improvement, moving forward. So points of improvement. So evaluation. All of these are important as part of this phase. So by the end of this phase, you will have some detailed information about what you need to revise, what you need to improve in the particular course. So that's what is this model. So ADDIE model is used to is used by professional instructional designers, I would say, for a teaching based technology, or a professionally developed course, high quality distance education programs, all of this corporate learnings, training programs. Okay. And this is the most widespread model in corporate training. And this is heavily associated with, I would say, high quality design, clear learning objectives, carefully structured content, I would say, controlled workloads for employees, integrated media, learner activities, assessments. Okay. When you tie up this to the organizational outcomes. So this model will allow for the design and development of large number of courses with good quality and precision to your training programs. So these are the advantages of your ADDIE model. So with this, I stop here, and the other ISD models will be discussed in the next class.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I have one question before we end.
Yes.
So sometimes unknowingly also we follow such models.
I'm stopping the recording here 1 second.